Hello there, and welcome to the first episode of Desert Island Dead. And you know, the thought of being cast away on a desert island is all well and good, but only if you have the complete works of Shakespeare, the Beethoven quartets, and this. This. I'm going to start the channel by using songs that have meant something to me, but hopefully in the fullness of time people can write in the comments particular songs, particular live tracks that have really meant an awful lot to them, or that they think are definitive versions of a particular song. And the one today is from Anthem of the Sun, which was the first album by the Grateful Dead I ever heard. One day I was in a record store and I took a chance. And the very first song on the album is called That's It for the Other One. And as you'll see in the song, there's so much in it that you just really never look back. So here goes.
The other day they waited. The sky was dark and faded.
The great Jerry Garcia on vocals.
He has to die.
I love the bass. Phil Lesh, who sadly passed away fairly recently.
And all the children learning from books that
They were burning. Books today were burning. It almost seems like in the history of books, or alongside the history of books, comes the history of book burning. Just as with the history of art comes the history of the art critic, the guy that pees on the art in the Mel Brooks film, History of the Wall. I love this bit. Different vocal effects. And this album was such an interesting concept because they recorded a studio version of the songs and they had live versions of the songs. So they compiled those and edited them and produced this album using both. And this is... What a brilliant album. What a brilliant concept. To take the live and the studio and then make the album from that. I'm not aware of anybody else trying that, could be wrong. I'm just not aware of anybody else trying that. And then the other track comes in. Takes over. Brilliant drummer. Seemingly, I read in this book, I don't work for these people, but I'm happy to say that this is absolutely fantastic. Annotations by David Dodd, foreword by Robert Hunter, the complete annotated Grateful Dead lyrics, absolutely fantastic source of information. But the Spanish lady that laid on him the rose, seemingly that's the first reference to the rose iconography that is throughout the Dead's later work. Boom, boom. love his early solo, and I think his early solo, Garcia's early soloing is different in its style to his 70s and 80s stuff. I don't know, I don't know what you guys think. I don't know quite how I would describe the difference. I really like his 60s solo on albums like Live Dead and so on. Coming around. Boom, 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 boom. So many transitions and so much imagination. Then another track. That's live guitar there. There's chords. And then where this goes, fantastically creative. It's not music you would normally talk while it's on. You really want to zone out and get into it. They were so at home with being experimental. It's one of the things I noticed about this is because some rock and roll or rock bands, pop bands, whoever, that stray into experimental music, it's a bit, they don't really know what they're doing. But I was aware right away, listening to The Dead, that they knew what they were doing, and it turned out it was probably in large part due to Phil Lesh, because his background was being aware of the avant-garde scene and being a composer and studying the avant-garde scene in the 60s, I guess, maybe 50s, 1950s as well, when he was a student. So he's very much at home in this world. Well, that's it for the other one. It's difficult to, if you have an open mind and you have a passion for music, it's difficult to hear that and not be completely intrigued by this band. And then, of course, the rest of the album, the songs vary so much that I think right away I was engulfed by the Grateful Dead. Probably that first listen to Anthem of the Sun. I've never looked back, and even though I have so many records and CDs of the band, I still feel like I'm scraping the surface, and that's so good. You know, I don't want to live in a world in which I know every Grateful Dead recording. It's always nice that there's still ones that I have never heard. So anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing the suggestions and the comments from yourselves, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Take care and bye bye.